Hello, RSR fam. You know what? With each edition that we do, I get so excited to see what we'll be discussing on the day. So unfortunately, our ACEO Muso couldn't join us, but in his place, we do have Mr. Kaya, and joining him is my side. Take it away, sir.
Thank you, Zanele. Thank you for the opportunity. Welcome to the colleagues, and hi to everyone who's watching this video. This month we are celebrating Heritage Month, and I have Masane with me, who is the Senior Manager of ICT Infrastructure and Security. As you all know, heritage, it's about celebrating cultural wealth of our nation. Masana, it goes without saying that COVID has had an impact on how we approach traditional rituals. For instance, the initiations, traditional weddings, etc., etc. What are your thoughts on this?
Thank you, Kaya, for having me. Indeed, COVID has impacted us how we do our traditional ceremonies. In a sense that you usually find that that a simple event like a lobola negotiation, you find that usually you invite certain key senior family members to bring their two families together, but because of COVID, you find firstly they cannot come through because they've got comorbid issues, and you find that certain cultures, they invite a lot of elders. Now you must cut down the numbers because of those social gathering regulations. The wearing of masks, where it seems like there's no trust within the family. Now you are thinking that probably this person that is coming from the other family will bring COVID. So it has brought quite a lot of challenges, which it's been more than a year that we've been under this COVID pandemic. So I think now we've adopted and adjusted quite nicely, where even our grandparents, they know that they must do video calling instead of just wanting to get into to visit. So we've adjusted, we've acclimatized to that.
I fully agree with you, Masane, because with us we need elders to guide us with those traditional rituals. Exactly. So with these COVID restrictions and the danger that COVID poses on the elderly, it became totally impossible for us to freely celebrate our cultural rituals. When it comes to language, I'm of the view that the language in the sense, in the context of the heritage, it's the emblem of who we are. It carries our heritage. It identifies us as individuals, as communities. It's also part of our roots, but most importantly, attached to the language are the values. The culture, the lifestyle, and we tend to relate to people differently based on how they practice certain cultures and traditions. Let's now talk about the language. You see, my view is that the language plays a very important part in our culture and heritage as well. I see language as the carrier of our heritage. Language identifies who we are. It identifies the communities that we come from. It is part of our roots. But attached to the language are the values. That that set us apart from everyone else. Now, what is your view, Masana, with regards to our young kids, for example, who might be attending to Model C schools? How do you see them observing our cultural practices, but also when it comes to the language? Do you see them, most of them, are they able to fluently speak, the mother tongue?
Hey. Now you've nailed that one in, Kaya. Usually, I always get embarrassed when I see an African kid unable to speak their mother language. Usually it's embarrassing. It's extremely embarrassing. On that issue, as a nation, we've got a long way to go. Let your kids learn the language. Let your kids be exposed to the traditional events at home. Let them, don't create a language barrier between your kid and your elders, because at the moment it's a barrier. I'm going to give a very simple example. When I was looking for a school then I had one kid. I was coming from the northwest and I came through to Midrand, and then the principal, the head of that school, sat me down and imparted a very quite a heavy wisdom to say, you know what, Mrs. Kukama, I'll be having your daughter here for almost 80% of her time. So I'm going to be exposing her to this Western culture, which is a model C, 80% English. Try to expose her 20% of your culture. Your Tswana speak Tswana at home, speak Tswana, teach her each and everything what is called in your culture, in your language. And at that time I couldn't even understand it, but I implemented it. I just said, let me try this. As I grew up and become a more well-seasoned and matured woman, that's when I realized the benefit. That, now I've literally eradicated the barrier between my kid and when he goes to Amakaya, because now he can play with other kids. They can play with other kids. They can talk anything with other kids. My kids are able to understand everything that we do at home, even though it's not like your 100% cultural activities, but they can hear my dad, they can hear my grandfather, my grandmother, and that has actually I've succeeded in bringing them up. I want to say that I've literally succeeded because now they can mirror the two. So in that note, I want to say as a nation, maybe when we celebrate this month again, try to expose our kids in that. It's a very small little activity in your cultural, let's say, value chain, but start to speak your mother tongue with your kids. Let them be exposed to that. With that, I think I've managed to answer. Yeah.
That's a very important lesson. I think all of us who are parents must adopt that approach. Thank you, Zanele, and thank you to you. Special thanks to you, Masana, for your contribution in the discussion today. Zanele, this is where we are now bowing out. Thank you to you.
Thank you so much. See you in the next edition.
Bye-bye.